Imagine a man so disciplined that an entire town set their clocks by the time he stepped out his house each day. That man was Immanuel Kant, born in Königsberg, Prussia in 1724. He never married. He never left his hometown. He lived a life of simplicity and order. Yet from within those few city blocks, he would ignite a revolution in thought that forever changed how humanity understands truth, morality, and freedom. His neighbourhood saw predictability. History saw precision, and philosophy saw one of its greatest minds. Kant asked the questions that outlast time. What does it truly mean to live morally, not by instinct or emotion, but by reason? What is freedom, if not the power to govern oneself? Today we'll explore the mind of the man who redefined the Enlightenment, a thinker who bridged faith and reason, science and ethics, the finite and the infinite. And we'll uncover how his timeless principles can shape the way you live, lead, and think today. Before we dive in, this episode is powered by Strong Coffee Company, the protein-packed coffee that fuels both your body and your mind. Use code VANCRUX1 for 20% off at strongcoffeecompany.com. Back to the episode. Kant was born into a strict family, one that prized duty, humility, and obedience. His father was a harness maker, his mother devout and disciplined. Structure wasn't just encouraged, it was sacred. He attended the University of Königsberg, where he studied theology and philosophy. Under the mentorship of Knudsen, he discovered Newton, Leibniz, and Wolff. But his true awakening came from reading the Scottish philosopher David Hume. Hume claimed human reason could never truly grasp cause and effect, that our certainty in knowledge was merely habit. Kant later wrote, "Hume awakened me from my dogmatic slumber." That single sentence marked the beginning of modern philosophy. Kant dedicated the rest of his life and himself to reconciling reason and experience, the mind and the world, logic and life itself. In 1781, Kant released The Critique of Pure Reason, a book that initially baffled readers but later shaped Western thought. Before Kant, philosophy was a battlefield between rationalists, those who believed knowledge came from reason, and then the empiricists, who believed it came from experience. Kant bridged them both. He declared that the mind is not a mirror of reality, it's an architect. Thoughts without content are empty. Intuitions without concepts are blind. Your mind doesn't simply record reality, it organises it. He called this transcendental idealism, the idea that the mind structures experience through categories like space, time, and causality. He split existence into two realms: phenomena, which is the world as we perceive it, and noumena, the world as it truly is, beyond our senses. Think of it like a VR headset. Vivid, immersive, believable, yet still an interpretation. Modern neuroscience confirms this. Your brain doesn't see the world, it predicts it, constructing meaning from limited signals. Kant's insight was humbling. We cannot know the thing itself, or thing within itself, but we can know the laws of our perception, the framework through which we experience life. And that framework, he says, is reason itself. He came up with the Categorical Imperative. It's, if our experience of reality is subjective, How can morality ever be universal? Let's repeat that. If our experience of reality is subjective, how can morality ever be universal? Now, Kant's answer was the categorical imperative, a universal moral law grounded not in feelings or religion, but in reason. He said, act only according to that maxim, by which you can at the same time will that it should become a universal law. Basically, before you act, what if everyone did the same? Imagine you cheat on your taxes. You might gain in the short term, but if everyone did, the system may collapse. Or imagine you lie to a friend. If lying became universal, truth itself would lose meaning. Kant believed ethics must be universal to be ethical at all. It's morality without loopholes, a compass calibrated by reason. He went further. Always treat humanity, whether in your own person or another, never merely as a means, but always as an end. Every human carries infinite moral worth, not a tool, not a transaction, an end in themselves. That single idea would later shape modern human rights, democracy, and dignity laws across the globe. In business, it means you don't exploit people for profit. In relationship, it means you don't manipulate others for validation. In relationships, it means you serve rather than use. Kant believed that morality wasn't about outcomes, it was about intent. Do the right thing because it's right. This episode is sponsored by More Labs, clinically proven recovery drinks that help you keep your mind sharp and your body recharged after a night out or a hard day in the gym. Go to morelabs.com and use code VANCRUX1 for 25% off. Back to the episode. Kant called his moral framework deontology, from the Greek deon, meaning duty. Morality, he said, lies not in what happens, but why you act. If you help someone for praise, it's not virtue. If you help because it's right, it's moral duty. He wasn't against emotion, but he refused to let it dictate ethics. Morality for Kant was the bridge between reason and action. Your feelings might inspire you, but your duty must define you. In today's world of social optics and performance virtue, Kant's message hits hard. Character isn't public, it's personal. To Kant, freedom wasn't the absence of rules, it was the mastery of self. He called this autonomy of the will. Imagine you're on diet. One part of you craves the dessert, the other part, your rational self, wants long-term health. When reason wins, that's not restriction, that's freedom. Kant believed the highest form of freedom is the ability to choose principles that align with your rational will. Self-mastery, not self-indulgence. In modern terms, discipline is freedom. Every time you choose long-term purpose over short-term pleasure, you evolve. Kant's next breakthrough was synthetic a priori knowledge. Truths that are both learned and universal. For example, you don't need to measure every triangle to know its angles equal 180. The truth exists before experience, yet is confirmed through it. Kant united the rationalists and the empiricists, paving the way for the modern scientific method. He proved his mind is not a camera, it's an architect. The world you perceive is partly designed by you, your beliefs, your categories, your mental structure. In neuroscience, we call this predictive coding. Kant saw it centuries before science caught up. Despite being the champion of reason, Kant was no atheist. He believed morality required a rational belief in justice beyond human life. He wrote, Two things fill the mind with ever-increasing wonder and awe: the starry heavens above me and the moral law within me. He saw faith not as superstition, but as an anchor for ethics. We cannot prove God, but we can live as if justice ultimately exists, because morality demands it. Faith for Kant was reason elevated by hope. Kant explored beauty not as decoration but as moral education. The critique of judgment, or in that book essentially, he defined two kinds of aesthetic experience: the beautiful, which is harmony, design and proportion, and then the sublime, vastness and awe that reminds us of our limits yet lift our spirit. Standing beneath the night sky, you feel small yet meaningful. That's the sublime. Kant believed that training the eye to see beauty trains the soul to see order. To appreciate beauty is to align with moral balance, to feel the invisible geometry of existence. Kant believed every individual carries infinite moral worth. You cannot use people as stepping stones, props or pawns. Imagine a world where every business deal, every argument, every romantic interaction began with this rule: this person has inherent dignity. That's not idealism, that's moral clarity. In a world of exploitation and image, Kant's voice reminds us: never treat a person as a means, only as an end. By the late 1700s, Kant had become the most influential philosopher in Europe. He influenced Hegel, Schopenhauer and even Einstein, who credits Kant's notion of space and time as inspirations for relativity. Kant showed that the universe might be infinite, but human dignity, morality and discipline give it meaning. He lived quietly, yet his ideas thundered across centuries. He never sought fame, yet his precision outlived kings. He never travelled, yet his ideas reshaped the world. When Kant died in 1804, his final words were, "It is good. It's simple, it's rational, it's complete." He lived within the borders of Königsberg, but his ideas stretched. He taught us that morality isn't emotion, it's logic, that freedom isn't chaos, it's control, and that the greatest revolution happens not outside, but within. So the question he leaves for you is, if your actions became universal, would the world be better for it? This episode was brought to you by Liquor Gummies, the smartest way to enjoy your night and feel fresh the next morning, packed with electrolytes and vitamins. It helps you recover before the hangover hits. Grab yours at liquor.com, which is liqure.com, and use code VANCRUX1 for 20% off.